And I think that Clutch Sports strikes again. This is just another instance where Clutch Sports strikes and has, been essentially just spreading lies, spreading false narratives, spreading hate. I think it's really interesting that they complain. The players today complain that nobody's celebrating this game, but yet they turn around and they do things like this. It's just disgusting and disrespectful. It's unreal. You disrespect today's players, guys like Chris Bosh, and they do it because Chris Bosh is a class act. He's never said a bad word about LeBron. He's never come out and said a bad word about anybody in this league. He's very respectful. He's very quiet. He's living his life. I believe he still has, a very beautiful wife and, a happy family, I think. But he's just in the shadows, and LeBron James isn't worried about him coming out to refute anything. And that's what makes Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, LeBron James, that's what makes them a bully. Because they pick on people that either can't fight back or won't fight back. Pick on somebody your own size. Pick on somebody with the moxie, the guts, the balls to come back at you and say something. Not Chris Bosh. Don't denigrate him and his legacy, who, by the way, he's a Hall of Famer. When you have a Hall of Famer on your team, they're just a professional. They're just a guy. They're just a role player. What kind of nonsense is that? This is a team sport. Basketball is a team sport. And at minimum, you're going to have at least 5 guys on the court. And you can't win without at least an additional 4 guys on the court. So I'm tired of this. I'm tired of these narratives that are built to serve LeBron, his legacy, and tear down the other players in the league. That's what he's doing. He's tearing down everybody else currently, yet saying that we need to celebrate this. And that brings me to my next topic. LeBron James is telling us as fans that we need to learn how to appreciate the game of basketball and today's basketball in particular. And he discusses this with Steve Nash on Mind the Game in episode 2. And, it just begs the question, like, does LeBron James think that NBA fans are stupid? The way he talks to us is so rude, so condescending. He talks down to us. And I believe that it's because he's this billionaire guy. He's been doing it for years, saying, I'm going to go back to my rich lifestyle while you guys have to wake up to the same everyday dead end job or whatever it is that he said. Right. And it was really a low comment to make. It was disgusting. And I feel that he speaks with elitism oftentimes, and I don't really quite understand why. But I'm sure it's the money. I'm sure it's the power and the prestige that he's built. And we're going to listen to some sound from LeBron James and Steve Nash talk about the way that we should be appreciating the game as NBA fans. And they're sort of scolding us and letting us know that, we just don't understand. We're ignorant to the fact that, the game is just so much better today. And perhaps if we actually even watched the game back then, we would realize that we don't really like it. But I'm going to let you guys listen and we're going to react from there.
Of course, you adapt, you learn, but like the game's come so far from, like you said, the 2 bigs, the clutching, grabbing, chucking, the hand checking up the court. Like, man, it was stodgy back in the day.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Like, and we'll get to this later in the series, but like, the talk around sometimes, some people aren't as happy with the way the game is. Like, we need to help teach fans like how great the game is now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going back to that. Right. It's a lot of nostalgia. There's other factors, but like, the game is great, and we need to teach people how to appreciate it.
Yeah, we just need to. I think have an appreciation, and I think if our fans will really go back and watch some of those games, they'll realize then maybe that's not something we will want to see on a night-to-night basis.
Agreed.
Because the difference between our game now is that all of our games are on television every single day, either nationally, locally, or through League Pass. So you can watch all of our games. In the 80s and the 90s, you may be able to catch one game if you had it locally. If your team had a local broadcast deal, you could catch it. And if not, then you may not see a game for a long time. Let's,
like the NBC
broadcast. NBC broadcast. Maybe once every couple you maybe catch one or two games, every other week. So, I think the nostalgia of the game, I think it's just a deeper conversation of why we should appreciate and celebrate our game of basketball today, our athletes of today. Just like, the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s guys were celebrated and 2000 guys were celebrated. So it's definitely a conversation we get to later.
I'm excited about that for sure. But how about this? At what point in the summer are you like, I want to get in game shape? And is it like September? Is it in training camp? You prep to get.
LeBron James is just insufferable. I mean, we can't make this shit up, guys. He's literally telling us that, you think you like 90s basketball, but you don't. You don't really like that. You don't actually like defense. That's not something that you want to watch on a night-to-night basis. No, you don't want to watch that. And that's a lie. I would watch that every day and twice on Sunday over watching something current. I would watch old games if they would replay them every single day. I would watch that in lieu of watching this. I would watch 70s basketball every day in lieu of watching these guys. Why? Because those guys weren't walking through the tunnel worried about their outfit and wearing purses and whatever else, dresses and all these things. They came out there ready to play. They weren't worried about podcasts, gossiping on a podcast about, I don't know, nothing, then going out on the court playing like poop. They didn't load manage. They came out there ready to compete, and it was really and truly just the sheer competition. I love to compete at work. Oh my gosh, I always want to win at work. I want to push my team to be better, even if it's just 1% better every day. I want them to be better every day, better every week, better every month, better every quarter, better every year. That's what I'm looking for out of my team. And it's the competition. I want to be the best team in the company. And so because of that, I look at today's NBA and I see that there's no like will to compete. You don't see it. You see them you see opposite teams sort of getting along. The East Coast, they get chippy over there, and you see it. You see it with Anthony Edwards. He's competitive. He's bringing that fierce kind of swag, will to compete back to the game. That's what I feel, and I see that in some people. But out of these stars that refuse to retire and refuse to leave, the Kevin Durant's, the LeBron James, it's just like they show up and it's like they're just there to remain. I don't feel that they're inspiring. For me, like in the game of basketball and anything that you do that's a team sport, it's kind of like inspire or retire. If you're just showing up to play and to be here and to show everybody that you're still in shape and that you can actually get on the court and play, I don't need you. I don't need you to just consistently try to show me what you can do. I need you to make an impact and figure out what you're going to do to help this team win. I don't need you for the storyline because I'm going to put butts in seats no matter what. And people just, they live for having stars on their team, and they believe that stars brings the butts in the seats, but I just don't. A team like the Lakers, they're going to sell tickets regardless. And then, of course, LeBron wants to deflect to how the NBA was consumed back then. I mean, there was multiple forms of media that they don't use today, like radio. Radio isn't a thing today. We don't listen to the games on audio anymore. We don't pick up the newspapers either. There were other ways to consume the sport, but people watch TV, and they watched a lot of it. The fact is the interest level in the sport is for a short attention span. It's for a couple of minutes. That's why LeBron James, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, They're able to spread these lies because people don't actually watch the game. People aren't even going to remember what happened in this era because they saw a clip on social media, and they know this. LeBron, Rich Paul, they know this. That's why they do these kind of marketing scams. That's why they go to these platforms and they spread these lies, because it's going to be believed, because people didn't watch anyway. People aren't watching today's game. NBA Finals might average 5-10 million views. Michael Jordan had it at about 30 million views. And yes, it decreased when Kobe, was starring in the league as well, but not by the amount that it decreased as LeBron has been in this league and in the LeBron James era. Kobe Bryant was averaging anywhere 15, 20 million views. Not bad. Not Michael Jordan, but he wasn't out there saying that he was the GOAT. LeBron, I struggle with the things that he says. I mean, Rick Bucher said it best. How do LeBron James fans reconcile? Like, how do they reconcile the things that he says? They're idiotic. They're stupid. He's literally telling us that what our eyes see are deceiving us. Just because, they know and they're aware that fans today don't watch, but back then we watched. And he makes his own point look stupid when he tries to say that games were not televised as much. That's why more people watch, but nobody's watching today. So maybe they should dilute the amount of games that are nationally televised. And let's see if people will watch it. I don't think that they will. And the reason why is because there's load management. So you have guys playing anywhere from 40 to 50 games in a season, 55 games, a lot of these stars, and the people are still not watching. So the sport is kind of, in a way, even though there's more nationally televised games, the stars don't show up to play. And people aren't watching when they do show up to play and when they don't. So LeBron James is just wrong. His argument is, it doesn't make sense. It's erroneous. It's bullshit. I reject it. I rebuke this argument because it's dumb. And of course, he can't help but to insult players of the past. Oh, this is not what you think you really want to watch on a nightly basis. So we want to watch no defense. We want to watch you flop and fall all over the floor. That's not what I want to watch. We want to watch you get blown by Steph Curry. There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of OGs that have a problem with the way that LeBron James is going about things. They have a problem with it. They're tired of it. And Tim Hardaway is one of those people. And it brings me to my next topic, because he went scorched earth on Gil's Arena. Maybe it was about a month ago.